Hey, Devin, how you been, man?
I've been well. How you guys doing?
Very good, very good. Dante just talked about just the excitement for him, especially just being back. He talked about the camaraderie with the guys. For you, you were here last year, but just to have this organized team activities in the OTAs and minicamp, how nice is that for the players to be back and not only learn but be around the guys?
Oh, it's been great, man. I say it every year. It's like the first day of school. Some of the classes you're not gonna like. Some parts of practice you're not gonna like, but being back with your guys, your friends, and especially like a guy like Hightower, having him back in the building, back out there making plays, I think gives everybody a lift. And he's kind of fell right in. Obviously he's been training and figuring out how to maintain his kind of physical conditioning and all that while sitting out a year. So it's been great to have him back and just to be back out there in general.
Thanks, Steph.
Problem.
Next question, Mike Reese, followed by Dan Roach.
Hey, Devin, good to see you. Congrats on everything ahead here.
Appreciate it.
How's your off season?
It's been well. Been chasing kids around.
There you go. Football wise, just when you look around and see some of the new guys that are in, the familiar faces like High that you mentioned that come back. I know there's a long way to go, but what do you see for, this defense, the potential if it all comes together, after all the work you put in?
I think right now you see guys that are very willing to work. I mean, just now, even on the hill, you got Judon running with some of the skill guys out in front, pushing himself. I think the amount of guys we've seen in there, having LG back out here and with Gachow out there and Anderson, some of those new guys, and, with Dietrich Wise, I feel like kind of developing more of a leadership role. And then a guy like Bentley with another kind of year under his belt and adding Jay Mills to a group that has kind of stayed the same for a while. We've just been, I think, trying to get after it, continue to push each other, get better. Not really worrying about, any of the outside noise or anything and just focusing on how can we get to know each other and get better. And I think that's what's great about, being back out there in the mini camp. And I think you guys see it every year, Bill is going to make it hard for us. And I think we're having attacks on communication and trying to fix things while we're out there. We're talking about it off the field when we're in meetings. So I think we're getting some good steps towards where we want to be, but obviously, like you started off, it's still a long way to go.
Next, Dan Roach, followed by Mike Giardi.
Hey, Devin. Welcome back. Hope you're doing well.
Appreciate it.
Just a thought on what you've seen so far from the quarterbacks and just your thought on Cam being back for a second year, how he looks. Obviously, he's got to feel more comfortable, and Mac Jones, Stidham, and company, what it's like to watch them.
I always start off with I have no idea how to evaluate quarterbacks or what that looks like. So I don't really ever think my opinion matters much on quarterback play, but those guys are working. I think we have a good group of guys, obviously with Mac being a rookie, but those other three guys being, here with Stiddy and then Hoy been in the system for a while, and now Cam getting more familiar. So I think what I've always loved about that position throughout the years, and then even now, is just a competitive attitude they bring each day, whether it's talking trash and our kind of individual receivers with quarterbacks and DB drills when we go 7-on-7 team. It's just a constant back and forth. And I think all four of those guys have brought that in. It'll be fun to just watch that play out and guys compete. Obviously, I think that competition will make our team better and give us a chance, throughout the season. So, but I would say all those guys are working. And I would say probably Bill and Josh know more about playing quarterback than me. I can't even throw.
Thank you.
Next question, Mike Giardi, followed by Levin Reed.
I'm not surprised that you just admitted you can't throw. I mean, usually the DBs, feel a little dicey back there. I know you missed me. Hey, I just wanted to ask you, this is the first time in several years that you don't have Jason back there with you. And I'm just kind of curious, it was obviously such a special situation for you too, what it's like to be without him again.
Yeah, I would start off with you can't throw or run. So that's a lot worse.
I have a cannon.
But, obviously it's different, but I would say the different thing about this year too is guys like Chung and Jules. Like I've played with those guys for so long. Obviously Jay's my twin brother in the last 3 years has been awesome. But it's getting used to just, that aspect of some of the guys that you kind of don't think twice about, that you're taking the field with, Jules had a few injuries through the years, but and Chung, not really. So it's like almost every time you are at practice or a game, you just get used to seeing those guys. And, I think it shows age, when you're still playing football, things obviously change in this league. But I would say all those guys kind of grouping them together has kind of created a different little atmosphere. And, I think that's the fun part about being a leader, being on a team for a while, is now trying to bring all of that together with new guys, young guys, veteran guys, and building the team. And I think that's what, I'm trying to do, and help the guys out as much as I can, and trying to just have fun with this mini camp.
I know there are other people waiting. I'm just curious, like, does it feel like the team's in transition in that regard? That sort of there's a changing of the guard, if you will?
I don't know. I feel like you guys evaluate that a lot better than I do. I think every year there's change, and you're always going to see that. And I think for us, we had a great run with a lot of guys that played here for a while, and you can't play football forever. So you're going to start to see some of those guys kind of dwindle out. But, obviously it's a little different when, some of those guys have been here for so long and played so many games.
Thank you.
Next question, Levin Reed, followed by Zach Cox.
How's it going, Devin? I hope everything is fantastic. And by the way, whenever Mike Giardi starts anything with giving a shot at you, go the Marshawn Lynch route and just say that I'm just here to get fined so I don't get fined, and stay away from him. I got to ask you, how much do you value now even more the in-person practices and in-person coaching in the offseason?
Yeah, I mean, it's been good to be back here. I think with some of the stuff we're just able to do virtual, it's hard. I mean, I think all you guys know, probably everybody knows some aspect of whatever their job is that went virtual, and you're still trying to get things done at a high level. So I think just being in the classroom setting is a lot easier for guys to learn, for us to communicate and get to know each other. Virtually, you got to kind of wait and see who's talking. It is just a different atmosphere. So just being back and figuring things out and getting to know guys, I would say is the best part. Being in the locker room, laughing, joking. I feel like that's where relationships are built that really help you, honestly win games in the season. I think that's so valuable, and I think we've been able to do that so far this year.
Thank you.
Next question, Zach Cox, followed by Butch Stearns.
Hey, Devin, you mentioned Jalen Mills earlier. I'm just wondering how he's been fitting in so far. It seems like he's been around the ball a lot in these last couple of practices we've been able to watch.
Yeah, man, he's shown a lot of versatility so far. He's super competitive. You guys can probably see him out there. He's talking, he's having fun. But I think he's been a great addition for us just because of his ability to do different things, whether it's playing safety, covering tight ends, covering the slot, playing outside corner, deep safety, strong safety. So I just think that versatility, and you guys have seen through the years in this defense, allows the coaching staff to do so many different things. So I think for us as guys that have been here is just continue to help them with different things. And, one of the biggest things that you have when you change teams is just terminology. He knows football. He understands a lot. It's just getting him on the same page as the terms we use, how we view things. And that's been going well so far in the meetings and everything. So we just got to continue to work at that. And I think as we get to know each other, hanging out in the locker room and stuff, it's been really fun so far.
Butch Stearns, followed by Evan Lazar.
Hey, Dev, how you doing?
Doing well. How you doing, Butch?
Good. Hey, just curious about your impressions of Mac Jones so far as a rookie, and what have you seen from him that you like?
So far, he's seen poise. Obviously, I've only been around him. I think it's like 4 or 5 days now. So, but he seems like a hardworking guy. Obviously, he's used to being, on the kind of the big stage, playing, in college at Alabama. But he just seems like he's here to work. I would say he's like all the other rookies that kind of come in here to work, try to get better each day. And he's done that. And, obviously he's had, I think like all of us as players, you have good days, you have bad days, just keep at it. And he seems like he has the right attitude. And, I think he's getting to know the guys on the offense. And that's a different position of being a young guy because you're automatically kind of in that leadership role. But like I said, I think he's used to that. And I think as older guys, the only thing we can do is continue to try to support him and help him with all the things that come with being a professional. I think guys naturally do that for all our young guys here in New England. And I think that's what's fostered kind of great relationships as guys get to come in and learn from some of these older guys.
Thank you.
Evan Lazar, followed by Nick Coit.
Hey, Devin, hope you're doing well. I wanted to ask you, when you see these offseason additions, Dont'a coming back, things like that, how nice is it as the secondary to see all these pass rushers out there and knowing that they're going to help you out by getting after the quarterback?
Yeah, man, it's fun, but I think as a player, you always gotta tempo yourself and not to fall into the just being a fan. And I think for fans, it's awesome. They get to see these talented players come back, adding Judon, new players. But I think as a player, you kind of know how hard it is to win in this league. You know what it takes to win. And, just having names doesn't really solve anything. I think every year we see teams and guys sign places. It doesn't mean like that team is going to win the Super Bowl or even be in that game. It's just so much work that goes into it. Obviously we've been to a lot of those big games, and a lot of those seasons come from an off season where everybody's mad because we don't sign this guy and that guy, and we end up in that game. So I think you can't have it one way and have success, and then, you get a lot of new guys and you're like, yeah, that's all we needed. So we just got to go out there, work, do what we've done. I think obviously Bill sets the tempo for the team and what we need to do. I think we just need to follow that and see where that puts us at the end of the day. But, I don't think we can, we shouldn't be running around in the secondary like, man, we're going to have 80 sacks, and we're like, that's just unrealistic. We got to just keep working and try to be the best football team we could be.
Thanks, Devin.
And two final questions, Nick Coit and Phil Perry.
Thank you, Stacey. Hey, Devin, appreciate your time as always. Just on those offseason additions, how much does it energize you as a player when, the team, brings in this kind of talent, and how much does it energize you to want to go out there and work harder so that it all does fit together and come together?
Yeah, it's awesome. I think, like I said before, in this league, when you don't win, I think I said at the end of last season, when you don't win, things are going to change. And that affects everybody. And I think obviously you get excited, but you get excited for every year, every new season. It's a new challenge, a new opportunity. You get ready. But additions and when you come off a losing season, it means guys won't be there. Like, that's just how it goes. So it's very exciting, I think, just to be in minicamp in June, this time of the year, working, trying to get better, doing all those things. And you try not to get too excited in March. There's not much you can do when all that stuff happens. But I think this is the time where all of that excitement and all the buildup that you have, you got to put it to work. And I think that's what we've been doing so far, putting it to work, trying to get better, get a step ahead so that we come in here for training camp. We have some type of foundation that we can start to build off. And I think that's what it really comes down to.
Last question, Phil Perry.
Hey, Devin, I'm sorry if you've been asked about this already. I'm not sure I have the best reception here in the mobile office, but you just mentioned, building a foundation at this point in the year. Without Stefon Gilmore, what do you guys lose in terms of being able to build that foundation? And obviously, he's been so important to this defense over the last couple of years. Can you be the same defense without Stefon Gilmore?
Yeah, I mean, Gilly's still under contract. So he's a guy that, when he comes back in, he does what he does. And we all know that. He's a guy, I think, for me, like, I've been talking to him. He's still a part of this team. And when he comes in, I don't think we have to change much. Like, he fits in where he fits in. And it doesn't take much to see, like, where he fits in. I don't think you have to, like, reinvent the wheel and see, like, our defense is what it is year in and year out. Obviously, we add new things. We do some things a little different depending on personnel and who's here. But, what Gilly can do and what he brings to the table is still a huge part of the defense. And, when he gets back, that'll be what it is, and all of that will work itself out. But, obviously, still fully part of his team. A lot of guys have talked to him this offseason and keep in contact with him. So, I think, like always, obviously it's my 12th year in the league. You see things like this happen. It kind of work itself out on its own, and you kind of let the player worry about that. But I think as far as us as teammates and our defense with him in it, I'm excited for that just as much as anything. A guy that obviously his season got cut short last year. And he's going to be working hard to get back and get to that level of play that he's been at the last couple of years. And I'm excited to see him do that. Obviously, one of the hardest working guys I've been around, the quiet assassin, is doing what he needs to do to be back out there playing good football.
Thanks, Devin.
Thank you, Devin. Thanks, everyone.